The 2019 NBA All-Star Game is just over 2 weeks away as the captains, Giannis Antetokounmpo and LeBron James, have been selected and the starters as voted by the fans, players and media have been announced. With those selections and announcements out of the way, the league will turn its attention to the 14 players from the Eastern and Western Conferences who will be selected by the league's coaches for the reserve spots on the two All-Star rosters, which will be selected on February 7 live on TNT just hours after the league's annual trade deadline passes. While it remains to be seen which players are selected to fill those final 14 spots in this year's All-Star Game in Charlotte, we have seen enough basketball to this point in the year to make our guesses on which stars deserve to receive the nod. Which players do you think should make this year's game? Share your thoughts on our projections as well as which players you think were the biggest snubs in the comments section below. Blake Griffin, Detroit Pistons. While the Pistons have struggled to live up to expectations this season, Griffin is enjoying one of the best years of his professional career as he has continued to enhance his game to match the way that teams are looking to play today. With those individual statistics working in his favor, he should find his way to Charlotte as an All-Star Game reserve. Nikola Vucevic, Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic are still a ways away from contending for the postseason, but it has been impossible to overlook what Vucevic has done to this point in the season, as he has consistently put up all-star caliber numbers for Orlando, which will be enough to catch the eye of the coaches who make these picks. Victor Oladipo, Indiana Pacers. Injured. Obviously, Oladipo will not be able to participate in this year's All-Star Game after suffering a brutal injury earlier in the month, but the league's coaches would be right to give him the honor of being selected as a reserve, as his production this year would have merited such a distinction. With Oladipo unable to play, a replacement selection will have to be made. Bradley Beal, Washington Wizards. From a production standpoint alone, Beal should have been more in the conversation when it comes to the starting backcourt in the Eastern Conference, but there is no way that the league's coaches will snub him given the way that he has performed since John Wall underwent season-ending surgery. Ben Simmons, Philadelphia 76ers. Yes, his jump shot is still very much so a work in progress, but there is no way you can overlook the overall skill set that Simmons brings to the floor night in and night out, as he is, almost as much as any other player in the league, a threat to record a triple-double in each and every game he plays. Kyle Lowry, Toronto Raptors. Kawhi Leonard is receiving the bulk of the attention in Toronto this season, and for good reason, but Lowry deserves just as much credit for the team's success to this point in the year, and that should help his cause in terms of receiving the nod from the league's coaches. Chris Middleton, Milwaukee Bucks. Much like Lowry, Middleton finds himself playing in the shadow of another superstar in Giannis Antetokounmpo, but there is no question that his play to this point in the year has been enough to put him in the conversation for one of the final spots in the All-Star Game for the Eastern Conference. Anthony Davis, New Orleans Pelicans. This is an easy pick, as Davis, when healthy, is one of the game's most talented players. With all of the speculation concerning what the future will hold for Davis following his trade request, the All-Star Game should offer him an opportunity to get back on the floor and show his skills. Karl-Anthony Towns, Minnesota Timberwolves. The Minnesota Timberwolves came into the season with high expectations, but then Jimmy Butler's trade request and the subsequent firing of head coach Tom Thibodeau has changed their trajectory a good bit. Despite those issues, Cat has put together another impressive campaign, and that should be enough to earn him a spot in this year's game. Nikola Jokic, Denver Nuggets. The Joker has been playing at an MVP-like level during certain stretches this season. And despite the fact that he does not play in a major market, the big man has caught the attention of the entire basketball world with his diverse skill set, and that will help vault him into this year's All-Star Game. Damian Lillard, Portland Trail Blazers. For one reason or another, Lillard rarely receives the type of credit he deserves, as the Western Conference is loaded with talented players at every position, but he is clearly one of the best guards that the league has to offer, and his statistics to this point in the season prove that fact. Russell Westbrook, Oklahoma City Thunder. While Westbrook is not having his most efficient season on the offensive end of the floor, the former league MVP is still putting up monster numbers for one of the better teams in the Western Conference, which should be more than enough for him to join his Oklahoma City Thunder teammate Paul George in Charlotte for this year's game. LaMarcus Aldridge, San Antonio Spurs. It would be criminal for the Spurs to not have a representative at the All-Star Game, given how they have managed to surprise many fans and pundits alike after reshaping their roster following the Kawhi Leonard trade. While a case for DeMar DeRozan can certainly be made, we are giving the nod to the former Texas Longhorns standout, Klay Thompson, Golden State Warriors. After getting off to an uncharacteristically slow start to the regular season, fans have seen Thompson catch fire of late for the Warriors to help them go on a run leading into the All-Star break. While cases can be made for players like Tobias Harris, Rudy Gobert and Luka Doncic, we are giving the nod to the member of the defending champs.